Let's get back into the Word of God tonight. We're finishing up Genesis chapter 18. And these are where the three visitors visited Abraham. And we know those three visitors were two angels, probably Michael and Gabriel. That's what I'll call them. Bible really doesn't say. As well as the Lord himself came to visit Abraham. Abraham treated with hospitality. There he reaffirmed the promise about this time next year you're going to have a baby. That's where Sarah laughed. The Lord caught her on that. And now they finished dinner. They've discussed. And they're looking towards Sodom. And I want you to look at this, starting in verse number 20. And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. This is a wonderful lesson that the Lord is teaching us today. Here, God who knows everything. Apparently, there has been reports coming up to heaven of the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah. This tells me that God knows not only the good, but he also sees all the injustice and the sin of this world, and it's a cry unto him. And now Sodom is about ready to be judged. The cup of iniquity is filling up and is almost overflowing. And folks, with the Lord, he will tolerate so much. And then there's a point in time that enough is enough. And God stops the grace and instigates the judgment. And Sodom and Gomorrah is now at the door. Abraham, and I want you to get this picture. Abraham, it says, and the men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord. You see, the Lord is now getting ready to judge Sodom, but instead of listening to the cries that are coming up to him, God himself is actually going down to see for himself. And wouldn't it be wonderful, folks, if everybody, instead of judging something on circumstantial evidence or evidence that they haven't witnessed themselves, that they would take the time to investigate an issue for itself instead of relying on what she said or he said or they said. Wouldn't the world be a lot better off if people would search for the truth and investigate themselves, as God himself did in this example? And it said, and the men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord. Look at the picture here. Sodom is over here. Abraham and the Lord and the three men are on this side looking toward Sodom. But Abraham is standing between Sodom facing the Lord and the two angels. Isn't that a picture of intercession in itself? When you're standing in the gap, so to say. And Abraham asked the question of the Lord. And Abraham drew near and said, wilt thou destroy the righteous with the wicked? He's asking God a question. I know that there is sin going in there, but are you going to destroy the good people along with the bad people? Are you going to destroy the righteous along with the wicked? And here we see where the justice of God is about ready to be applied. And Abraham is standing in the gap, interceding not only for Lot, but for all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. And that is a beautiful picture of intercession. And Abraham says, well, what if there's 50 people in there? Now, I want you to understand he picked 50 because of a reason. God wasn't just going to judge Sodom and Gomorrah, but there were 3 other cities along with that the Lord was going to judge. So basically, he's looking at 50 people in 5 different cities, roughly 10 apiece. 10 is the number of divine order. And what he's looking for is divine order before the judgment is passed. And so Abraham starts this process. Well, what if there's 45 or 40? What if there's 20? And God says, you know, if there's not 50, if there's 45, I won't judge. If there's 40, I won't judge. And this is where people say, well, Abraham is bargaining, and this is where they get the saying that he is Jewing down or bargaining down the Lord. And that is far from the truth. Basically, he is not bargaining or Jewing down God. He's not in a purchase. He is interceding on behalf of the people. Now, I want you to take and look at this. Isn't this also a picture of the potential rapture? Here there is judgment getting ready to come. And now he's sending somebody, the Lord is, to take the righteous people out, which is going to be Lot, his wife, and his two daughters. Isn't that a picture of the rapture? Judgment is coming upon the earth. So it doesn't matter if you're pre-trib, mid-trib, or post-trib. I seem to think this is an example of a pre-trib pointing towards the ultimate judgment of all mankind and of the earth in Revelations. And I believe that the Lord will pull the righteous out before the judgments of God fall upon this earth or fall upon Sodom and Gomorrah. Folks, I hope we've learned some lessons here that we've seen in Genesis chapter 18, and also see where the Bible itself is pointing directly into the future, pointing directly at Jesus Christ.